Armed with 23 guns, Stephen Paddock shot down crowds of 22,000 people from the 32nd floor of a Las Vegas hotel room before turning a gun on himself. He killed at least 59. He injured more than 500. It's America's worst ever mass shooting. People are asking themselves, how did one man get his hands on so many firearms, and what will this do to America's gun laws? Joining us now from North Carolina, pro-gun campaigner, member of the National Rifle Association, Dan Roberts, and from San Francisco, Robyn Thomas, who's from the Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence. I'm going to speak to you first, Robyn, and Dan will just come to you in just a moment. But Robyn, I want to just put to you this fact, and I think it is a fact. Most people here in the UK will be absolutely aghast if nothing changes when it comes to gun control over in the States in the wake of the worst mass shooting in America's history. What are the gun laws that allowed this individual to amass an arsenal of 42 weapons? How was that allowed? Were they legal? And if so, what do you do to stop this happening again? It's such a simple question, and yet the answer becomes so complex that nothing changes.
Absolutely right on all fronts, Susanna. First of all, in the United States, we have some federal gun regulations which require background checks on gun sales if you buy a gun, only if you buy a gun from a federally licensed dealer. That is about the extent of what we have in place at the federal level. There is no regulation of assault weapons, there's no regulation of sniper rifles, there's no regulation of large capacity ammunition magazines, and no requirement of background checks on private sales. So you have this gaping hole where there's very little regulation. Now the states can then step up and pass laws to fill those holes. In a state like California, where I live, we have dozens of additional laws on the books that have driven gun violence down by almost 60% here in California. In Nevada, where this took place, there is almost no gun regulation on the book. I do believe, we don't know for sure, but I do believe that the shooter acquired his guns legally. However, even if he did go to a gun show, did not get a background check, was prohibited from owning guns, he could still legally buy those guns with no background check from a private seller. He can buy an unlimited amount at one time. And in Nevada, assault weapons and large capacity ammunition are all legal. So there's absolutely no prohibition on a civilian buying these kinds of military style weapons and inflicting the kind of carnage that he was able to in such a short, shocking time. Okay, so Dan Roberts, you and I have debated this for many years in America and in Britain. I need you to explain why after nearly 600 people are shot, of whom 59 are already dead, by a guy with no criminal record, apparently perfectly normal until he did this, who has legally, it would appear, we don't know for sure, but it would appear from early reports, has legally acquired 42 guns, including a number of semi-automatic rifles. Why this would not just automatically lead to new gun control measures, and why you would oppose that?
Again, it's a very complex and complicated answer. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get to all of the reasons in this segment. I have to say right off the bat, I hear all the time from gun control supporters that they want to have a conversation. And my response to that is, there's not going to be a conversation until gun control supporters stop intentionally lying to people or misrepresenting the facts. For instance, Robyn just a minute ago said sniper rifles. Great hyperbole. The U.S. military uses what's called the M24, which is based on the Remington 700 308 hunting rifle that has been around for over 70 years. But calling it a sniper rifle gets people's attention.
All right, Dan, you are, if you don't mind me saying, you're distracting from what I asked you, and I want you to focus very clearly.
No, I'm not.
I want you to focus very clearly, Dan. I'm not really in the mood for you just to do your distraction technique, right? I need you...
I'm not distracting, but you keep interrupting before I can finish my answer.
I asked you a question, you chose to answer a different one. So let me ask you again. What can possibly justify anyone being able to buy 42 weapons, many of which were high-powered semi-automatic rifles? How can you justify that?
Piers, here you go again. There is nothing exceptionally high-powered about an AR-15. In fact, It shoots the most low-powered centerfire rifle cartridge available on the market in
The
the
man
United
just
States.
shot 600 people. Of course, they're
No,
high-powered.
okay.
We heard the bullets
No.
go off ourselves.
No.
We heard them
No.
firing, Dan. You're talking complete
there are
and utter
20
nonsense.
There are 20 different calibers of very common hunting rifle cartridges that will go through any police officer's vest, period. They're not classified as armor piercing. They're not anything that are regulated at all. The facts are the AR-15 is the least powerful centerfire rifle on the market in the United States, period.
Well, then there's even bigger problems, isn't there? If the semi-automatic AR-15 this guy used to shoot 600 people in a few minutes, it's the least high-powered, then the problem's even bigger than we think. And let me do my favourite trick with you, Dan, again. Because this always works well. I want you to explain this. Explain this, Dan.
Piers,
No. Let me ask you a question.
Piers, do you know,
Let me ask you a question.
Do you know something
Dan,
that we don't
here's
know?
how this works. I ask the questions, you answer them.
Oh,
I've
I'm
got
gonna
in
ask
my hand,
questions too.
I was in Las Vegas 6 weeks ago. And you know what? I fancied buying a Kinder Surprise chocolate egg, right? You and I have discussed...
Piers.
No, wait, let me ask a question. I want you to answer... Don't laugh, Dan, it's not funny. 600 people got
No,
shot.
it is funny. Your example is
Right,
ridiculous.
here's the example. This is banned not just in Las Vegas, not just in Nevada. It is banned in the United States of America because there are little
That
toys.
is absolutely false.
It is completely true. You cannot
No, it
legally
is
buy
not,
these
and I can
in
prove it,
America.
sir. And these are exactly the kind of lies that I'm
These
talking
have
about.
little toys inside which are deemed
This is a
hazardous,
lie, Piers, and you know
hazardous
it.
to children. It is not a lie. You cannot buy
Yes,
these
it
legally
is.
in America.
The
So I
federal
simply
law
say
was
to you,
changed
Dan,
over a year
I
ago.
simply say to you, Dan, that time after these massacres, you come on this program, and you used to come on my program in America, and you look us in the eye and you say, the only answer is to do nothing. There's nothing wrong with guns. It's the people.
When did I
So
say
here
that,
we had a law-abiding gun owner, the archetypal NRA guy, right? He's just a normal, regular guy with no criminal record, but because of your insane gun laws, he can arm himself with 42 weapons and unload 600 bullets, which hit Americans and people traveling from around the world, leaving 59 dead and many critically wounded. How can any of this make sense, Dan? What are you going to do about this?
We're not going to do much of anything, hopefully. What does the number of
Hopefully?
firearms somebody
Why would you
owns have
hope
to
you do nothing? How can you
Because I don't
hopefully
believe
do
in
nothing?
punishing, because I don't believe in restricting the rights of hundreds of millions of people because of the acts of a madman.
What about the rights of the people who got shot? What about the rights of the young children, of the pensioners, of the mothers, of the fathers, of the 59 who were dead, of the 530 who were wounded? What about their rights? Where do the rights of people to stay alive
what rights of theirs were
supersede
violated
your
here?
rights to have a semi-automatic military-style weapon? Where do the rights of
There is
people
no
to
such
live
Piers,
supersede that?
This is exactly what I'm talking about. There is no such thing as a semi-automatic military-style weapon. It is
Yes, there is,
made-up
Dan,
ordnance.
because we heard it being
No,
fired.
it isn't.
We heard it being fired with our own ears. You can sit there
Now, let me
and
ask
you
you-
can tell
let me ask
British
my
people
question, Piers.
these aren't powerful weapons, but we heard them.
Do you know
we heard
something
them
that
being
we don't
fired,
know?
Dan. We heard your lies
you know something
exposed
that we don't
on
know,
video.
Piers?
We heard it.
Do you know something that law enforcement does not know? Because every law enforcement officer I've spoken with has said that that is fully automatic fire. It is a machine gun, which has been banned in the United States since 1986.
That, as you know, has not been confirmed. And actually, the New
That
York
is not
Times-
true.
Actually, the New
Multiple
York,
Las Vegas police officers have said it's been
the New,
fully
well,
automatic.
to correct you once again, the New York Times
Okay.
the New York Times has studied the gunfire, and they believe it is semi-automatic fire, and he may have used bump stock or other devices to make it more rapid fire. That is another anomaly in American law. You can buy other components with your legally acquired weapons and turn them into more rapid fire weapons, right? We know that, Dan. You and I know that. And you and I debate this time and again, and each time you try and justify it and say, hopefully, nothing will change. When the rest of the world
Piers,
looks
I
at
don't
you
have
guys
to
going,
justify
what is
my
happening to
rights to people in
America?
another country.
Sorry?
I don't have to justify the rights of Americans to people in another country.
What about the rights of all the non-Americans that were in Las Vegas that night? What about the rights of British people that were in the Vegas Strip who actually may have been
If
gunned to
people are
death
too
because of your
afraid,
stupid gun
Piers,
laws?
Piers, I know plenty of UK expats that have moved here and enjoy their Second Amendment rights. If people are too afraid to come to the United States, then I suggest they not visit.
We're not afraid to go to the United States. I'll tell you what we're afraid of. We're afraid that America is going to do absolutely nothing as the scale of these massacres ever worsens. That's what everyone's afraid
I'm
of.
going to do my part to try to make sure that we don't.
So your response, just to clarify, your response to this guy raining 600 bullets down on innocent people is, hopefully, your words, to do nothing.
As I said, I don't believe with the concept of punishing hundreds of millions of people because of the acts of a madman.
Right, so just to clarify, the response is to do
He's a
nothing.
good NRA soldier.
Well, let me just finish. Just to clarify, your response... What are you laughing at?
The comment from Robyn about being an NRA soldier.
Right, well, the NRA would say very similar stuff to what you're saying.
toe the line.
What nobody understands, Dan Roberts, is why you would not want to do anything. Why you hope nothing is done to stop
Piers,
this happening again.
I think I've made my answer pretty clear twice already. I'll follow it up with every counterterrorism expert and law enforcement officer that I've heard from today said that there is absolutely no way that anything could have been done to stop this guy. He was not on anyone's radar for any reason whatsoever.
Okay, Robyn, let's go to you for the final word. Of course there's a way, because you just stop people like him.
So you know more than law enforcement.
You know what you do, Dan? You stop people like this guy getting 42 guns, period. That's what you do. America needs fewer guns, less access to guns, and then guess what? You will have fewer gun deaths and few massacres. Robyn, let me leave you with the final word. Robyn, I can't even debate this civilly, to be honest with you, because it just enrages me too much when I hear a response to a massacre like that, when so many innocent people's lives have been destroyed, and the response is, hopefully, we do nothing.
Because it's an absolute adherence to a dogma that cares nothing for human life, that cares about its guns. And so when what you care about is your guns more than the safety of other people's children, parents, siblings, and communities, and you will promote those guns and the sale of those guns above and beyond the lives of the people in this country, nothing can break through that, because the only thing you care about is your guns. So how are you supposed to have a rational conversation about how to save lives with someone who doesn't care about lives because they only want their guns? You look at Australia. In Australia, they had the Port Arthur massacre. They took assault weapons out of the hands of civilians who have absolutely no need for them, not for hunting, not for sport shooting. And you know how many mass shootings they've had in Australia since then? None. Not one. So the idea that we can't do something to stop this is absurd.
Of course
it's
it is.
ridiculous, and yet this is the sort of argument you hear being made.
Yeah, I'm afraid it is, and it's just Groundhog Day, and I fear for America. I really do, when the answer is hopefully we do nothing. Dan Roberts, Robyn, thank you, Rose, very much indeed.
Well, we ended that discussion exactly where I thought we would, because
nowhere.
when I said, will anything happen, apparently the answer was going to be so complex that nothing will change.
It's not complex at all, you just get rid of the guns.
We are
Really quite
speaking
straightforward.
to the Prime Minister, Theresa May, in just a moment. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.